Welcome to Friday Friends, RI Elder Info's weekly look at the organizations and individuals providing resources for Rhode Island seniors, caregivers, and professionals.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I hope you are all well today. As you know, I am Deb Burton, the Executive Director of RI Elder Info and creator of rielderinfo.com. And we maintain the most comprehensive resources for seniors, caregivers, and the professionals who serve them. And every Friday, we come on with a special guest that you or someone you know really needs to know about. So it's super important that you hit the like button and the share button to help us get the word out to as many people as possible, because we're all in this together and we got to help each other out, right? So when it comes to helping each other out, I am incredibly grateful to our sponsors. So a huge shout out to Point 32 Health Foundation, who has just joined the RI Elder Info family. We are super grateful for their support, as well as Aetna and United Health and Oak Street Health, Neighborhood Health. They're all wonderful programs that can help serve Rhode Islanders' health needs as best as possible. I encourage you to reach out to them. They're absolutely amazing. What you're seeing right now is through the wonderful wizardry of 321 Media. Ben Barber is Oz behind the curtains making this look good. And if you have visited rielderinfo.com, you have visited rielderinfo.com, right? If not, well, wait till the show is over and then go visit rielderinfo.com. That is through the magic of England Studio. They are an award-winning web design team located right here in Rhode Island, but they can serve your needs anywhere. So this week, we are talking to Michelle and Doreen from the Brain Injury Association of Rhode Island. Welcome, Dora and Michelle.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
Awesome. So what is the Brain Injury Association?
Doreen, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Well, the Brain Injury Association is the only nonprofit in the state that's solely dedicated to brain injury. So it's dedicated to increasing the awareness of brain injury and its consequences. And we provide education to prevent brain injury and to enhance the quality of those affected by brain injury, whether they be the survivor or the family.
Oh, okay. So not just the individual who has a brain injury, but the family too.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Awesome. And what kind of supports do you offer to the individuals and their families?
We offer several programs. We have virtual and in-person support groups. We have a navigation program. All of our services are complimentary to survivors and caregivers as well, just to note that. But our navigation service is an incredible asset to people who are survivors or caregivers. Essentially, it's a walkthrough, paperwork, filling out paperwork, finding resources, referrals, making sure that the right resources are being tapped into. It's really such an amazing program that so many people have been able to access things that they didn't even know were available, and just get that help and the resources that they need. And then Doreen is our education and programs manager. So she does a plethora of other things that I will let her chat about.
Ooh, what is the plethora of things?
Well, I provide the education and the support to the schools in Rhode Island. We do baseline testing for schools. We give professional development to teachers, coaches, school nurses, guidance counselors. But then it's also branched out into other areas because you don't really realize how brain injury affects so many aspects of life. So we also do professional development for like EMS, first responders, police academies, domestic violence. So we want to make sure that we increase that public awareness and then provide as much information and access to the resources for any stakeholder that's involved around a person with brain injury.
So Are there a lot of people in Rhode Island who have a brain injury?
That's very interesting. There's approximately 14,000 registered brain injuries per year in Rhode Island, but that's only through emergency departments because they're the ones that are required to keep track. So it could easily be double. Not everyone goes to the emergency room. Some people don't go to a doctor at all. They go to a pediatrician if it's a child, or they go to their own doctor.
Primary.
But they're not required to register with the state. So
Okay.
for a small state, 14,000 a year is quite high.
That is a lot of people. And then when you factor in their family members, I'm going to take a wild bet that at least one family member per individual who's registered. So that's like 28,000 people right there. That's huge. Now, when I think of brain injury, I think of a lot of times like a car accident where, my head has gone through the windshield or something like that. What constitutes a brain injury? Is it like when the structure of the brain gets injured, or is it what causes a brain injury?
So there, the National Brain Injury Association really likes to talk about it as just brain injury because there's a lot of acronyms that are thrown around. There's ABI and TBI. So ABI is an acquired brain injury. It usually happens with internal factors. So, diseases, infection, strokes, toxins, any lack of oxygen, hypoxia, anoxia. And then a little strand of how it's acquired is traumatic brain injury. And traumatic brain injury is when there's a bump or blow to the head or the body that causes your little neurons. I have my little neurons that I bring to school over here. So they, have these little neurons that twist and they, chemicals get out and chemicals get in. We call it an energy crisis. And that's basically, one of the ways that you can acquire brain injury. And so a concussion is a brain injury. It's a mild traumatic brain injury, but you can also get a moderate or severe, which may include a longer loss of consciousness or even penetration through the skull. So.
Wow. So I hadn't thought about, I think of traumatic brain injury, but I had never thought about the acquired brain injury. So if someone has, say, a stroke or dementia, then that falls under brain injury, but acquired because it just something that biologically happened. Am I understanding that right?
A little more biologically. In the case of anoxia or hypoxia, you can also get someone who's strangled as well.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know about the dementia as much as if it's listed underneath an acquired brain injury, but I know that the stroke is.
Okay. Wow. That's
brain diseases.
And so you have, if a family is encountering this, say their loved one just had a stroke, or someone has just been able to escape a domestic violence situation and now they have this injury to their brain. How do they reach out to you to be able to get that navigation help? Because navigating the health and social service systems is often very challenging. So how do people reach out to you guys? Where are you located? Is there a spot that they can walk into for help?
We are in East Providence. We're actually going to be moving, but not too far, just a couple doors down. So currently we're at 1017 Waterman Ave in East Providence, and we are open for walk-ins Monday through Thursday, Fridays by appointment. You can always give us a call. It's 401-228-3319. And you can also send an email to basically any one of us but we have, our email is braininjurycenter@biari.org.
Wow. Okay.
And so those are the ways you can get in touch with us.
And we try to collaborate with agencies in the state as well to inform them. So if it's whether it's domestic violence or it's, another entity, they know to contact us or to refer people to us.
Okay. And so sometimes, what are some of the, like key tips if you are working with someone who maybe has a brain injury or is having some challenges? Are there some things that the general community should be aware of if their loved one has a brain injury, or if they say encounter someone who maybe had a brain injury in the store, like not in the store, but you're in the store and they have the brain injury?
Right, right. Well, yes, we always say that a brain injury is like a fingerprint or a snowflake. No two are
Okay.
alike. So when you
Okay.
look at all the different signs and symptoms of a brain injury, they can usually fall into three categories: cognitive, physical, and then socio-emotional. So that could show up and present itself in various ways. But one of the things we do talk to, especially like in crisis intervention training, it's just good common sense to slow down, not to overwhelm people, give them plenty of time to process information. And if it's someone who is acting out in a emotional way to try to calm them down, it's similar that you would do with anybody else that is acting out like that.
Oh, so of course you just say to them, just calm down. It's fine. Just calm down. Because we all know someone who's upset when you
That
tell them to
works.
calm down. It works.
Right.
But breathing techniques, it's
Yep.
interesting to really, when I got into it really with the police academy, there was, they have crisis intervention training and how it dovetails really well with what we would do in a crisis to, again, not overwhelm people. Someone with a brain injury might be affected by lights and noise and sounds and just basically being overwhelmed. So it's where if you're an intervention person, you want to get things done very quickly, but you really have to slow things down for someone with a brain injury. And that's probably the best advice that you can give initially without knowing what their symptoms are and what their background is.
It's interesting that it's important for us as the individuals without the brain injury to really understand that the world for other people does not necessarily operate at our speed. I remember speaking at a group where the individuals in the group had a stroke. And one of the individuals said it's very frustrating because when they speak, it takes them longer than what most people are accustomed to get their words out.
Mm-hmm.
And so very often they said, my family member will rush in and finish my sentence for me.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, doggone it, I know what I'm saying, like stop, and I thought that was really important. So I'm hearing what you're saying about slow down, give people that space.
Mm-hmm.
So with a brain injury, is a brain injury something that can heal so someone can go back to who they were before the injury? Like if you break your arm or something like that, the bones will mend. Does the brain heal itself, or does it find different ways to do things?
Well, it's a very good question. And yes, and yes. Majority of concussions, if you're talking about just a mild TBI and concussion, 85% of those clear up within a month, give or take a week. Then there are people that have post-concussive symptoms afterwards that go beyond that time, and they usually work with doctors and therapists to get that back. When you start talking about something that's more moderate or severe, that will take longer, is usually more costly. And then when you start looking at the statistics for that moderate and severe, the statistics actually go down in how many people fully recover, because when it's more damaging, it lasts longer and can be more permanent. One of the things that we try to do is make sure that when someone gets a concussion, that they don't get another concussion while they're recovering from the first one. So it's second impact syndrome. So you see that a lot in sports, but it's also true of someone who had a slip and fall. You don't want to turn around and get into a car accident a week later, because then you're damaging a brain that's already damaged. So you really have to watch it and continue to see your physician and get the support that you need.
So I don't know if this falls in a category that you can answer. If someone were an older adult and they fall, for most of us, when we fall down, our first instinct is to get up. It doesn't process right away that we might be injured. But for our older adults, I think a lot of times we think about fractured hips and things like that. At what point, if somebody fell and bumped their head, should they get it checked? Is it always?
Well, I mean, it's err to the side of caution if you're getting other things checked. Oftentimes, the unintentional falls and motor vehicle accidents are like number 7 when you look at the top 10 deaths of seniors in the country. So slip and falls happen, and they're don't have that reaction time. So when you look at the stats, you kind of see them go up like after 70 and higher. It's people get concussions very often for that reason. Yes, I would go and have it checked. Sometimes signs and symptoms really don't surface until 24, 48 hours later. So you have to go keep an eye on yourself. And it's very interesting, you can't see brain injury. It's one of the frustrations that people that have it. So they're like, you look fine. I'm like, yeah, but I'm noticing that my cognition is not good. And when I go to senior centers, I give the list and they're like, this is really interesting to know, because if I fell, I wouldn't know to look for this. So again, we're trying to spread awareness to see what does that look like? Are you having problems with your vestibular balance? Is it coordination? Is it your speech? It could be so many different things. Or, even you find out that, you're a little more ornery because, your lack of sleep is really a big one that people tend to dismiss. But like, if you're feeling all these symptoms and you're not sleeping well, those are only going to exacerbate. And if you had pre-existing conditions like migraines or ADHD, or that can also be exacerbated, with a concussion.
And those things all make so much sense. So you guys do go out and give community presentations. So if somebody watching wanted to have you guys come out, they can reach out and have you guys come out and give a talk.
And do you do?
And free. We like free.
Free.
Now, do you guys do work with veterans?
We actually are in the process now. We work with anyone who has brain injury, starting there. But we are in the process now of putting together a veteran-specific support group. We know that community is, a close-knit one and a special community, and they definitely prosper in each other's company. So we are in the process now of putting together a veteran support group and just a group that can get together. And because it's about community as well. The more people know people that have brain injury, the more people realize how prevalent it is, and the more they can get the support that they need. So yes, we currently don't have a veteran-specific support group, but that is on the horizon.
That is awesome. And what languages are available for people to receive information in?
We have everything in English, obviously, but we have some things through the CDC, because the CDC will offer things in Spanish. We have access to a translator if necessary. We can get someone in to translate. But as far as physical hard copy things, there aren't a lot of things that we have in Spanish. It's something that we're working on.
Hey, I hear a grant opportunity there for any funders out there.
Yes.
Speaking of funding, are you guys a nonprofit?
We are a nonprofit. Yes, we are the only nonprofit, that's solely dedicated to brain injury. So that makes us special as well.
Awesome.
It's our 40th year.
40th,
Wow.
Yes. This is the 40th year for us. It's our 40th anniversary. So we have a lot of great things happening.
Awesome. So if people watching wanted to support the work that you're doing, do you need volunteers? Do you need cash donations? Do you need 40th anniversary party planners?
All of the above
helps.
I mean, all of the above. We will take, anyone that wants to come alongside us in our mission. to support survivors and caregivers and really spread that awareness and advocate for those that maybe can't advocate for themselves too right now. So we have several opportunities throughout the year for sponsorships for businesses that would like to come alongside us. We have an event coming up in May called Champagne and Chocolate. It's a really, really fun event that's coming up. We are also doing a year-long online art auction. So any makers or artists, that are interested in supporting our organization, we're going to be doing this all throughout the year. So it doesn't have to be something that's submitted right away. But it's something we're really excited about. We're going to be doing a 50-50 split with artists. So that is, a way that we can, they can help support our organization, and we can also give back to the amazing artist community in Rhode Island as well. We have an annual gala that happens in September. It'll be happening on Roads on the Patuxent this year, and it's the end of September. So we have a lot of opportunities for volunteering, also for, cash giving, and, goodie bag donations, all sorts of things. We've got all sorts of ways that people can, come alongside us in that way.
That is awesome. I am so glad that you were able to come on today, because I think it's one of those illnesses or issues that, because it's not obvious, it's not seen, that it's out there. And there's a lot of people who don't realize that the Brain Injury Association of Rhode Island is available to help. So thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
This is great. So the Brain Injury Association of Rhode Island, it's over at 1017 Waterman Avenue in East Providence. So if you're familiar with East Providence on Waterman Avenue, as you're going down, the police station's on your left. They're just down in the complex on your right. It's all one level. It's easy to get into their office, completely accessible. And they're offering the information and resources for free. They will come out to your organization and share presentations for free. But I think one of the big things is they will help navigate the health and social service systems. And that's one of the things that RA Elder Info really appreciates about the Brain Injury Association, because we're all in this together. We got to help each other out, right? So check them out. If you or someone you know has a brain injury, please reach out to the Brain Injury Association. They're doing some really cool things. And in the meantime, I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Be well and be kind.
If you liked this video, please follow us on social media and subscribe on YouTube. For more information, visit rielderinfo.com or call 401-585-0509. If you have any questions, email deb@rielderinfo.com.